Okay, we have a gigantic I'm right for you here. So let's knock out a couple news of the day items. Today is, according to the Trump administration, Liberation Day. This is the day the tariffs that Donald Trump loves so much go into effect. We've already seen countries cave. Vietnam long ago said, hey, we won't do it. Canada's indicating they want to change. Mexico's indicating they want to change. Look, what's going to come from this? I don't know. Because there are all kinds of things that are true. Good things and bad things about where we're going and about what we're doing that are true. It's true that the United States of America and the developed world, we really have the lowest charges, we'll just call them charges, on other countries. We have the lowest. Everyone puts higher ones on us than we put on them. So when people say we're getting ripped off, we're getting ripped off. I mean, that's a legitimate thing. That's true. What else is true? What's true is the world, the global economic system, it hates the same thing you hate, the same thing I hate. Change. If I get an update on my phone and a button moves, I'm annoyed. Well, the world economic system hates change too. You can't change this. So what's going to come? I don't know. I don't know how the negotiations will go. I don't know which nations will, should I say succumb? Agree to lower their charges? Which nations will simply up their charges? And then we have a trade war. I don't know. I don't know what in your life will get more expensive, what in your life will get less expensive. I don't know how quickly American jobs, American manufacturing will return. I don't know what's going to happen to your 401k. I don't know. And I've got a clue for you here. No matter what anybody tells you, they don't know either. Because it's not a simple situation. It's a complicated situation. I think it would be naive to think that there's not going to be some sort of a rocky period. How long? How bad? I don't know. But it's Liberation Day, and now we are going to find out. And again, as we've talked about many times before, this is not unprecedented what Donald Trump is doing. Whether you love tariffs, hate tariffs, the tariff way of thinking is a very, very old school GOP way of thinking. There's an old Teddy Roosevelt cartoon. I think it was in the New York Times. Don't quote me on that. It was in a newspaper back in the early 1900s of two boxers, and one of them's free trade, and the other one is protectionism, and the protectionism guy's knocking out the free trade guy. This is an old debate. It's happened many, many times before. We shall see where we go from here. Now, the other news of the day item was from yesterday, only we couldn't talk about it last night because we didn't have the friggin' results in. We had elections yesterday, really 3 big national elections yesterday. Now, what happened? We had Mike Waltz's congressional seat in Florida, a red seat. It was up for grabs. Matt Gaetz's congressional seat in Florida, a red seat. It was up for grabs. We retained, I guess I should say, both of those seats. It's good. It's good. Hey, when something's good, let's call it good. Wasn't that good? These elections were closer than they should have been. One was 11 points, should have been 30 points, right? So they were closer than they should have been. And that brings us to Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, voter ID passed. It's a very good thing. The Supreme Court race, we were told it was neck and neck. It was not even close. We got massacred. We lost a critical seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And what that means for you, if you're not in Wisconsin, is that could very well cost us the Donald Trump majority. So what's the story here? Well, there's a couple stories here. And I'm going to say something to you that I learned a long time ago. I've said it to you before, but I'm going to say it again and again and again. We human beings love simple. I'm the exact same way. I'm the same way you are. If there's a problem, tell me the solution. Make it simple. We want to simplify everything. We want to boil everything down to one thing. Give me one thing to digest, one thing to tackle, one thing to think about. I'm the same way. We're all this way, okay? But when it comes to politics, each and every single race tells its own tale. Of course, we can sit back and we can watch national trends. In fact, we'll talk about a national trend here in a moment, so we can talk about that. But each and every race tells its own tale. Good candidates, bad candidates, money, who raised it, who didn't, who spent it, how was the ground game, what were their extenuating circumstances, a national natural disaster, a mass shooting, did the stock market take a dump? There are so many different things that go into each and every race, and we want them simplified. But look, to get blown out that badly in a swing state Donald Trump won, we didn't show up. The good guys did not show up. The bad guys did. And why? Again, well, that's not simple. And I'll get to yelling about us in a moment. But there's something understandable about the losing side, the side that currently doesn't feel like they hold power. They're going to be more motivated than the side that feels like they hold power. You've seen these rabid animals on the left. They've been freaking wiping poop on Teslas across the country. These people are screaming in the streets. The left is rabid. They're very scared right now about the changes that are taking place. And it's going to be easier to motivate the mentally ill demon communists to get to the polls than it is the normal human being. But let's talk about you, me, normal human beings. We won this wonderful election in November. It's great. Donald Trump won. We have the House. We have the Senate. Woohoo! Everybody's celebrating. And for people who have lives, like you, the communists don't have lives. This is their whole religion. For people who have lives, we want to be able to take a breath every now and then. Take a break, I guess I should say. We want to be able to, all right, Trump won. Can I just watch the game now? March Madness is on. But we can't. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks about having to have this talk. I have to have this talk with myself. We can't. These people, the people who think like this, they don't take breaks.
Every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Yeah. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s?
You can point and say he's crazy, he's evil, he's wrong. Okay, yeah, I agree with you on all those things, but the people who think like that, and more importantly, the people who are influenced by people who think like that, they don't turn on March Madness. They don't go to church on Sunday. They don't check out choir practice for their kids. They don't even have kids. They have cats. And when there's an election, whether it's Donald Trump on the ballot or not, they will crawl naked across the mile of broken glass to go vote in that election. We have to be as committed to protecting this country, to stopping evil, as evil is to destroying it. And time after time after time, we see that when Donald Trump's name is not on the ballot, the American people, I'm not talking about you, you're the hyper-informed, the American people don't get off the couch and vote. And we can't win like that. If I were to give you a choice, you could have the presidency for the next 50 years of this country, or you could have every single state legislature for the next 50 years in this country. What would you choose? I'll tell you one thing, it's not even close. You can hand them the presidency. We would want the state legislatures. That would be way more important. But most people don't think in that way. There's a human inclination towards the guy at the top, the king, the one leading things. That is what motivates us. It's what gets us to the polls. The Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, oh, whatever, the game's on. We've got to change that way of thinking. And look, this brings me to the FBI. Big story came out yesterday, but none of it's shocking to you because you watch I'm Right here. The story, what it essentially did was confirm what we already knew, that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the federal law enforcement arm in this country, they knew the Hunter Biden laptop was real. It had been turned into them. They knew it was real. They knew it was legitimate. And we now have the messages, courtesy of the House and the FBI. We now know they buried it, issued a gag order. Elvis Chan, Special Agent Elvis Chan. You remember this Elvis Chan? I believe everything that comes out of the DOJ, FBI, everywhere, I believe all of it is a lie. I think I'm being lied to at all times. And if you would like to earn back my trust so I believe you ever again about anything, you will arrest that human being. You will put him through a public trial for violating the civil rights of Americans, for violating, abusing his post at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And as soon as the cell door closes on Elvis Chan, as he begins his 30-year prison sentence in Fort Leavenworth, then you will start to earn back a little bit of my trust. Elvis Chan's still there. In fact, Elvis Chan's been promoted. We now know Elvis Chan got the gag order and said, all right, let's put a lid on all this. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, it can't be saved. I'm sorry, it cannot be saved. And this is not on Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. It's really not. I know there's frustration building. I'm frustrated too. Why aren't we seeing arrests? Why is Elvis Chan not in chains? Why not? But here's the God's honest truth. Once a secret state police agency of 35,000 people turns this evil, it cannot be saved or preserved. And in fact, I'll go this far. There is nothing more important in this country than stopping it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because no matter what else is going on in the world, and I realize Russia, Ukraine, Iran, even the border, no matter what else is going on in the world, there is one thing that absolutely positively guarantees the end of the United States of America. That is an evil secret state police agency that works exclusively on behalf of Democrats. If we have that, we cannot have a country. We cannot have freedom. In fact, the FBI will cause a civil war in this country if it is not brought to heel. That is a fact. It's an uncomfortable fact. And so I'll finish all this because we have too much to get to tonight. I'll finish all this with this little point here. You getting involved locally, fortifying your state locally is as important now as it was when Joe Biden was sending the FBI to arrest pastors for being pro-life. Because the future of this country might get really, really, really rocky as the evil secret state police agency cements itself into power in this country. We have less than 4 years, not a single FBI agent is in chains, and at this point in time, I'm not positive anyone ever will be. Go vote in your local election. Your local election may not seem that important now. It may be everything in the future. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.